Welcome, Warrior. Welcome to our Saturday Night Live edition of what we are accomplishing. And there is so much going on at the Warriors. Welcome. Please, let's have a check in with everybody before we begin because so much is happening. I may not be able to stop once I start talking. So please give me a 5x5. Let me know where you are viewing this from. Let's have a roll call, everybody. Let's see. Come on, everybody. Let's see what's going on. I see 2 people are watching. Of course, that number will grow because people are trickling in. This is kind of a last minute jumping on here, not really planning because so much is going on that I don't even have time to get on here and fill you in, being back and forth in Washington a lot. We're in New York City right now. There's Lionel Nation, loud and clear. Speak the truth, Saturday, Succotash. Now listen, everybody, as you trickle in. I am on a whirlwind riding the rails, as I like to say, between New York and Washington, D.C. Let's start with, I should probably wait until more get here, but you know what? Let's go for it because your time is valuable, my time is valuable, and we just have to talk. Today, I think today, it just kind of hit me what's going on today. I got back last evening very, very late from Washington, D.C., and today's a very heavy day. There's a lot going on. So I won't even be addressing any of that because all of you know what is happening. But I'm very sad when we have shootings and we have people yelling things out across the country about the current administration. I mean, and I'm not even trying to be political here. I didn't see this happening, with the last administration. See, I'm not even using names with the last administration. I'm just going to say the last administration, okay? And nobody took to the streets like that when we had so much going on. For instance, nothing was happening with human trafficking, i.e. child trafficking, child exploitation, digital safety, I dare say. Everything we are working on today and have been working on, it was at a standstill with the last administration. Now, that being said, there were many things happening at the state level or trying to happen. But when we get the first piece of legislation signed into law under the current administration, the first one since 1998, you do the math. I don't have to do it for you. There's something wrong with all of this. And my fear is now today, this violence, this negativity, you know what I'm concerned about? We're all adults, right? I'm concerned about our kids, our youth, watching all of this play out. No wonder we have a youth mental health problem. Make sure you do talk to your kids, your grandkids, open and honestly about all of this. If this is hard for all of us to absorb, there's Hillbilly. Mrs. L, you were strong on Nancy Grace. Thank you. I asked Hillbilly which one, because I'm on quite frequently, a couple of times a week now. So thank you very much. If it was the last one, I'm strong on all of them, but thank you for pointing that out because, you have to. There's a lot of information. You don't have a lot of time to get it out there, so you have to make your point rather quickly. But that being said, and we'll go back to what I was talking about before, the justice system. They are finally beginning to look at alleged victims, survivors, whatever you want to lump it all into, under a different light. We're finally talking about trauma bonding, what that means. Yes, somebody may go back to that abuser over and over again, but there's manipulation. So right now on Nancy Grace, we begin Monday, and I'll be on Monday, I'll be on Tuesday, week 6 of the trial here in New York City. We'll see how this plays out, whether it's sex trafficking. He's been charged with sex trafficking. He's been charged with to engage in prostitution and also racketeering, RICO Act. So let us see if this justice system, somehow, some way we can hold this Triple D, as I like to call him, which is Dirty Diddy Degenerate, and I'm also calling him Triple M now, which is Master Manipulator Monster, because he's just a bad dude, as my husband would say. But let's get back to Washington. Let's get back to, I'm concerned about our kids, whether it's playing out, on their devices, because that's basically how they get their news or look at things today. And it is horrific. So you got to talk to them. There's nothing else you can do except talk to them. And turn off television sets if possible, please. I actually had a friend of mine say with these shootings in Minnesota, and it's very sad because the Warriors are part of a coalition SAVE, and this is about suicide awareness and warning. Now, let me put a warning out right now. If you're a little squeamish, don't listen to me. But I just give you a little warning, suicide awareness, especially with our youth. And also Eric Mishi, who started Kids, Keeping It Digitally Safe. And look for that interview here on the Warriors channel. We just did that last week. We are trying to come together, all of us, a lot of us, and truly be bipartisan. But Eric Mishi is in Minnesota, and he worked very closely with these people that were attacked and brutalized and shot and killed, frankly. And they were on board with the work we are doing to keep kids digitally safe. So we have to separate out with people. And I wish everybody could understand this. Frankly, they really don't. That when it comes to kids, I naively thought, and digital safety and family safety, I thought everybody could get on board with this. This would be the one issue. I really try to live my life that way. I try to run the Warriors that way. I preach this. I teach others, or other Warriors that volunteer with us, I come into contact with. And that's the way it should be. You go where the good work is and you work on that. And sadly, that cannot happen. So we just keep chipping away. There's a lot of hope out there. So we're going to get into a couple of things in Washington. But you have to realize, I will never stop showing up in Washington. While I have entree open doors, I am going full steam ahead, crashing through the doors, frankly, asking a lot of questions people don't want to be asked, and also questioning different things going on and what's the solution to that, where are we headed with that. I'm always about what's the next gig. And that just simply means it's not good enough to just do something. Yes, that's a powerful start. But how does that play out? How is it going to play out a year from now, 5 years from now? How are we going to build upon that and make things better for kids and families? So let me look at some of the comments before I tell you about Washington. We have Joanna, thank you for all I do. And, Joanna, thank you very much. As a survivor, we have so few people. We need to take support when we can. In politics, it's tough, though. But yes, go with the good, go with the helping. It's kind of a no-brainer. I don't want to sound so simplistic, yet I do not understand, because in Washington, the states, we talk about all of this work we do, advocacy, coalition building is bipartisan. So walk the walk. What is so hard with that? So I had kind of a little tiff about this yesterday, to be honest. So let me tell you about Washington. It's been very hopeful, but realize when we have wars breaking out and we have these ridiculous, well-organized, well-paid for, and come on, everybody knows it with what's going on today. So I'm not going to give credit to name what it's called and things like that, playing out. Who are these people? I wish this same enthusiasm and this same hatred, vileness, okay? I'm going to leave it at that because we're a family program. You all know what I mean. I wish people in the United States would take to the streets like this for our children, would push back against big tech. Yes, we all love big tech. We're not giving up devices. We're not suggesting it. We want some guardrails and accountability. And by guardrails, I mean don't put the onus on kids and families when you allow pornography with your algorithms and other things harmful to children. You allow them on your platforms. If you have the ability, and you do, big tech, because I work with a lot of big tech people who say, oh yeah, they could take that down. They could shut that down. I'm talking about vile crimes against children. That is allowed. That is the fight. Yet you and I might be censored. I'm starting to get this week, Facebook, I'm going against community standards, and I'm just reposting something I didn't even write about child safety. So things are tightening up. We talk about all this freedom. Is there really freedom? No, in my opinion. But let's get back to Joanna saying, as a survivor, I could not do my work without the work of survivors. So thank you very much, Joanna, because I did not suffer from human trafficking. I was not a victim of labor or sex trafficking or any of this exploitation. And at this point in my life, working, and I commit myself to the end of my life to do this work, to make a difference, because the goal is one person, one group, one child, one great take action a day, making a difference. Then we have done our jobs. That is how I look at it. And what I want to say about that is I don't realize, oh, A, thank you very much. Thank you for your support. I didn't realize these things occurred. I mean, I grew up in New Jersey. I'm a New Yorker. I'm savvy. I'm smart, right? I've been in the entertainment business. I've seen a lot of things. I didn't know people treat each other this way. I didn't know families go through these things. I had great parents, great upbringing, home cooked meals on the table. I had a great life. So now, at this older age, it is my duty to give back and to help those, so many who didn't have any kind of upbringing like that. And today, as it escalates across our country, don't have that kind of support, don't have that safe space. The number one thing survivors always tell me is safe space. It begins with that. Put their head on a pillow. First thing they ask for, just a safe space. So I believe it's all of our duties to come together and do something. Look what's going on today. Look what's going on. They're protesting in London about our country. And again, I'm not going to give you names and particulars because I'm not giving credit to all these people. But they're protesting in London about our country. Okay. What do the kids think? What are they thinking? We have to address it. We can't just let it go because you know what? Even if you turn the TVs off, they're looking on their phones. They're seeing things. I'm getting things directed towards me. Again, these are algorithms. Things that I don't approve of, I would never, put on my channel, whatever. And things are coming in left and right this week. So I got to look at that a little more. Watch what's going on, everybody. You got to keep our ear to the ground. And I don't mean live your life by that. I mean, just be aware. Be aware of everything. Let me tell you about Washington. Edie, thank you. Edie is our greatest cheerleader for pushing the like button. Thank you. Edie, everybody who's here should hit that like button because that puts us into the algorithms I'll talk about again here on YouTube to get ahead, the video to be shown. And Joanna, thank you. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for survivor empowerment. I'm fighting for Americans. We have to fight to put a roof over their heads. We have to fight to feed the kids. 1 in 4 kids go to bed hungry every night in America. It's disgusting. Used to be 1 in 5. Now it's 1 in 4. Could be 1 in 2. We don't really know because all of these issues we talk about on the Warriors are dark. So we don't have real stats. And many people don't come forward with information. For instance, sex trafficking. They don't come forward. Labor trafficking. No. There are people working. This is how they make their money. They're not gonna rock the boat and admit I'm labor trafficked, right? That's even a harder one to decipher and recognize than sex trafficking. But I'm tired of, as I pointed out in Washington yesterday, we know it's bad. Stop with the bad. Stop with we need to come together. Stop with we need solutions. We know all this. Let's go. Let us go. Where are the solutions? Where are the resources? Because you know what? There's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of money. Look at today. Let me point to these, who knows how many of these protests are going on. Somebody's financing them. Somebody's financing them. A lot of money out there. Imagine if this money was used to march for the sake of families and children. And then again, there's so many good people doing so many good things you will never hear about. I know a wonderful woman in Pennsylvania who just started, I'll share this in the body of the video when I'm done here, the link to it. It's this egg program in Pennsylvania with all these farmers who have all this excess of eggs and how those can go into food pantries and feed people. She started this because she just thought of it. And it's taking off like crazy, the program. Little things like that in the community. So I arrive at Washington. Specifically, I had several meetings yesterday. But also, first of all, the place was a ghost town. So I walked from Union Station all the way over by the White House. I'll leave it at that. And I don't know. It's, I would say it is about close to 2 miles from Union Station over there. Ghost town. Ghost town. When I got over by the White House, I actually walked in the middle of some very busy streets because they're all barricaded off and nobody stopped me. And so I thought, this is unique by the White House to walk in the middle of the street. And I'm not talking in front of the White House where that street, it's all blocked off in the front of it. I'm talking all the side streets adjacent to the White House. And I just found that very interesting. I saw a couple of school groups walking around, which always makes me happy when I see families or I see school groups. And it's the end of the school year where basically a lot of like seventh and eighth grades take. I heard eighth grade is the most popular for Washington. It's the end of eighth grade before high school, and they pour into Washington. I saw a lot of kids yesterday, so that kind of made me happy. They had their little name tags on, their badges with their schools, and they were very excited because I like to focus in on what people are thinking, looking at, whatever I can hear. And these kids are about eighth grade, very excited to be there. And I saw two different, very large groups in one area. I saw other groups, but I was focused. I was near these two groups in particular. And the kids were like really like into it. And I have to point out, I saw black kids in this group, Hispanic kids, white kids, Asian kids. I saw all kinds of kids in the group. I don't know what school it was. I wasn't staring at their lanyards hanging around their necks on purpose. I don't do that. I don't make anybody uncomfortable, but I like to just put my ear so I can hear what's going on. And these were our future adults, our future leaders. What are they thinking about? They're there in Washington yesterday. Peaceful day. You can hear a pin drop, actually. And today, they're seeing all kinds of things, perhaps on their phones, on their tablets, on their Chromebooks. But I was also there because there is, let me address some of these questions first. Yes, Joanna's laughing at London. I mean, really, they're celebrating this day. Again, I'm not naming it because it won't come off my lips, when they have an actual king in charge or figurehead or whatever we want to call him. Okay, Joanna says she's allowed. Yes, you are. Go for it. But Sean says food deprivation will get worse with increasing inflation as well. You have a point there, but I also think, like my friend started this egg program that's taking off in Pennsylvania, that if we had a little more innovation, we have a lot of smart people in the United States. And it has come to a point where it's up to each and every one of us to start thinking about these creative ideas in some way, shape, or form. Just like she thought of the egg program, what we can do, how we can feed people or share. Maybe we can volunteer teaching kids how to read or be a teacher's aide. And don't give me pushback about teachers' unions. I don't want to hear that one today. I know a lot of terrific teachers that are very upset across this country with things going on, things they're supposed to adhere to, things they're supposed to teach. They don't want to do it, right? And on the flip side of that, there are a lot of great teachers that are quitting the profession, that have a real calling because they can't take all of this. And we need every teacher we can get because all 50 states are behind in reading, writing, all of this. Which brings me to my point of I'm pushing back in Washington about AI, artificial intelligence, everybody. To me, at the Warriors, this is the number one ding, 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 light bulb moment, sound the alarm, superseding every other issue, because under this artificial intelligence, under this umbrella, you've got the sex trafficking, the labor trafficking, the job disruption, the everything that we work on in the Warriors. So therefore, I was there yesterday to have some very high-level meetings because we have an administration. I wanted to know their reasoning for the tremendous push into AI, twofold. There's Fred. Fred, how are you? Hello, welcome, Fred. Fred is definitely a warrior. I want to know why the administration. We just had the wonderful Take It Down Act a couple of weeks ago, signed into law by the president and first lady. It was the first time a FLOTUS actually also signed a bill. So that's historical. It was a historic moment in the Rose Garden. I was there to witness it. First piece of legislation since 1998. Take it down. Bottom line for Take It Down is the pressure is put on big tech that if a deep fake, something is reported to this site and they don't take it down in 48 hours, they will suffer. They will be fined. It's all kinds of things. That's kind of the bottom line for it. And I'll put Take It Down also on the body of this video so you can take your time and read it. But it's a safety measure towards kids. And again, it puts the pressure on big tech, which is ruling the roost. And every meeting I go to, they will say, well, big tech has all the money. Okay, well, what effects change? People sit up and take action if their wallet, if their pocketbook is affected. So government has to come up with something to hold them accountable financially. And then they are, beginning being very worried. They spent in excess, from what we know, of $100 million, big tech, fighting the Take It Down Act. So that was signed into legislation. So there you go. We have the Kids Online Safety Act reintroduced. Sadly, that we thought last Congress, the 118th Congress, it was going through. We even had Elon Musk supporting it. And it just sat there. But that's for another program, my thinking about that one. And it occurred to me, this is all well, good, and fine, and we need these pieces of legislation. However, AI won't matter because we have AI, artificial intelligence, recreating itself, stealing all our information as we speak. And the tech experts will tell me it'll be a different country, a different world in 20 years, if not sooner. That's frightening when you hear that. So what are we going to do right now, right? What are we going to do about all of this? And we have an administration, and this is why yesterday I wanted some answers as far as why are they pushing AI? Two things they've done recently. Our Vice President, J.D. Vance, is promoting a proclamation, K through 12, all of the schools are going to adhere to using AI. Now, what that looks like, how that's rolled out, I wanted to know. Don't really have the answers yet. Common thinking, I got a few answers yet. I did get one or two answers. Oh, it'll be a great tutorial tool for children. Well, what does that mean? Does it replace teachers? Does it do the work and research for the child? Like, what does that look like? Well, I couldn't get an answer for that one. Look, we can all agree that there are some really great pluses, and a lot of the experts I work with agree to this, that if we could take the good side of AI, it could be so useful to our children, to our families, to society as a whole. We already know about healthcare, perhaps, the oil business. There's a lot of positives for AI, but we are focused on the negatives with the children, right? Where are the guardrails? So it remains to be seen. I want to know exactly how Take It Down is being rolled out into society. How is this, going to happen? Couldn't really get too many answers. Right now it's sitting with the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. They're working on a couple of things to tighten the grip on the big tech companies. But you have to understand, which I kept saying yesterday, there are two things when it comes to human trafficking. And frankly, I'm going to tell you right now, we're never going to get ahead the way we want to get ahead, right? Which is so important that we do our daily work at the Warriors in the communities, right? The one person at a time, the one organization, fighting for the legislation, all those little pieces in the community as all this goes on at the government level. Because we have Section 230. I know you're probably bored of hearing about that old thing, but that's from 1996, basically the birth of the internet. That said, okay, big tech. At the time, I think there were like two platforms. We didn't have all these platforms, as you know. You're a billboard. You're not responsible for third-party postings, material, whatever. Of course. So they're relying on that. So until we get rid of that, kick it to the curb, sunset it, whatever you like to call it, we're not going to get anywhere. And I tell everybody in Washington, they're like, yes, you're right. Okay, so let's get somewhere. There is currently a piece of legislation put out there that they've just really kind of started working on. But what's taken so long? Come on now. So we've got that. And then there's the other piece with trafficking, ending demand. And ending demand can look like many different things. We're talking about sex trafficking. That is the buyer ending demand, holding them more accountable criminally. And also, yeah, sure, there are laws on the books. A lot of places they're not enforced. Financially responsible. We've got a lot of people labor trafficked. I'm very convinced all those children that came over the border, yes, there will be a large percentage of them sex trafficked, but there's a perhaps larger percentage labor trafficked. Why aren't we asking more questions about that? I mean, I certainly am. Where are all these kids? We can't send them back to these horrible countries where they have no lives. Yet we have a responsibility. I know they came here, so don't give me that argument, right? It's not their fault. They're kids. They're minors. Minors cannot consent to anything, which is why this whole sex trade is so mysterious. And how all these government officials in different states push back on different laws. For instance, California, I will give a lot of credit to, and I'm jumping around a lot. There's a lot of information to tell you, and I haven't been here lately. Senator Shannon Grove doing terrific work in California where she wanted to make sex trafficking of a child a felony, right? I think it's very reasonable. Child cannot consent. A child, you're hurting a child, a minor, right? And the pushback was, well, it has to be 15 and under. And she kept asking, what about the 16 and 17-year-olds? They are minors in, the book of law. Well, this, that. She signed on to this because it was better than nothing. And I'm tired of all of us saying, who are trying to protect children and families and just educate you, it's better than nothing. I wish all those people in the streets today, whatever those numbers may be, and I'm sure they'll be inflated, right? Because I saw a couple of boots on the ground, people's actual videos that they took, so it wasn't media or anything like that. There were like 10 people. I saw another group, they said, storming Washington. It was like 39 people. I mean, really? So whatever they tell us, we're not going to pay attention to that. But I wish these people were so concerned about what is going on with our kids, again, our future adults, our future leaders. So again, as I jump around Washington, I want some answers. Why the administration also, in that big, beautiful bill, that triple B, added late on a Sunday night, as far as I understand, a couple of weeks ago, a moratorium they want on all 50 states, that the states cannot push back on any kind of AI, artificial intelligence regulation, for 10 years. That is unacceptable to every Democrat I meet in government, believe it or not, and every Republican I meet. Why would they want this? So I keep asking why. When you ask questions, people don't like that. Why? How? What's going on here? So you've got the Take It Down Act to protect kids, and the same administration pushing no states can do anything for 10 years. Unacceptable. Because we know it'll be that runaway train. They will have a field day with our children who will be further traumatized, victimized, trafficked, deep fakes, whatever's going to come of all of this, right? What is their job future, right? What's the point of even going to college? You have AI. They're going to take over the job market. So I don't understand. I do understand and I don't understand. I know that sounds a little wacky maybe, but I want some answers. I don't believe this 50 state will pass in this big, beautiful bill. I don't think it's going to happen, but it was planted in there late on a Sunday night. Very suspicious. Who planted it? Why was it planted? Is it planting the seed because there'll be something separate? And I'm kind of bottom lining this to make it easier and not have all this kind of policy, legalese talk, right? That's boring, right? It'll come out in another way, shape, or form. Because the United States wants, from my sources, global dominance in AI. They want to be the leaders. Well, I think we can all agree that China's kind of beat us, right? With all of this. But now there is a movement. We are going to beat them. We are going to be global dominance. That's well, good, and fine. But as I brought up yesterday in Washington, well, be global dominance or work towards it. But at the same time, why can't we have two things? Why can't we have some things for children and families with this AI to help them, our overburdened, overwhelmed Americans? And everybody was like, you're right. Why can't we have both? Really? It takes me to tell you? You never thought of this before? So the Warriors are working extensively on that in Washington, and I'll keep you aware of all of that. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any. Yes, Joanna says you can't consent while being trafficked, minor or adult. I know. It's very easy to understand. Fred says maybe a felony plus a kidnapping charge. Listen, Fred, we would take a felony. That would be, and enforce. I mean, that would be good enough, right? Joanna says it seems appropriate. So Sean says, I'd like to see Trump prosecute people who took part in government-facilitated sex trafficking under the Biden administration. Well, Sean, you bring up a good point, because I'm also asking, 96 NGOs worked on the border, got millions upon millions of dollars through that whole fiasco, that crime spree. Yes, they are now off the border. Some of them have been shut down, but where's the accountability? Where is showing the American public, this is what happened, this is the money they made, and now we're going to hold them responsible? What's everybody waiting for? Listen, I got to call it out like it is, okay? Where is Pam Bondi? I don't know. Where's Kash Patel? And I saw them in the Rose Garden. They were happy and kissing each other and patting each other on the back. Okay, well, that's nice. Where is holding accountable what happened under the last administration? So much happened. And again, I'll remind you, as I started this program, there was nothing going on in the administration for protecting kids, for trafficking. As a matter of fact, there is something called the Human Trafficking Presidential Council. Nobody seems to know about it. It is made up of survivors, 12 members, 2 alternates. So it's about 14 members. And do you know that more than half of them quit under the Biden administration? Oops, there I said it, last administration. Because they could never get one meeting with the administration. They never got one email answered, one phone call answered. So I believe it was 60% of them quit. And they put out a statement. I think I was the only one that covered it. And it just fell by the wayside. And today, there is a presidential human trafficking council. But interestingly enough, and I'm doing a little work on this right now, the members were suggested for new members is a 2-year term, right? That when you're leaving the council, you will suggest, in essence, your replacement. I don't think that's a good way to do it. I'm all for suggestions and coming together and talking about it and things like that. But now we're seeing the dynamics switch into like an emphasis almost on like other countries. You know, perhaps people who came here illegally. And now they're perhaps sitting on the council and suggesting other. I don't think this is working. So I got to get to the bottom of this one because nobody seems to be talking about that one. We do have a lot of positive action, though, from our First Lady, Melania Trump. She is very interested in, for instance, Take It Down was part of her Be Best campaign. She's very interested in children and families and foster care. Has a separate program there. And everything with kids. So we hope to continue with these issues with her showcasing and highlighting because she brings tremendous media, love it or not, media attention. And I tell you why that's important. Because the Take It Down Act was a very small invited group to the Rose Garden. It was members of Congress who signed on, those who chose to come. Not everybody came. It was, frankly, we had not one Democrat. Whether they weren't invited, I don't really know why they weren't there. Amy Klobuchar, Minnesota, was a co-sponsor along with Ted Cruz. She wasn't there. Whether their party tells them you can't attend, you can't go to anything with Trump and celebrate anything with him. There were no groups there that I would consider Democratic or left or whatever. I don't like labels, whatever you want to call them. But you had a small audience of some organizations who worked extensively on Take It Down to make it happen. But you had basically more press than people in the audience. And if that press covering, because they're there to cover Melania Trump, I am convinced, who doesn't come out too often, right? She's showing her face a little more. We need that. If one person, if one child, if one family is saved or educated because she brings so much press to any of the issues she comes forth and supports, then we need to take all the FLOTUS, everything we can take. Because if that helps us, we're taking it. And I saw it with Take It Down Act. I'm telling you, there was more media than people in the audience. It was a small audience. But that was a beautiful day in the Rose Garden. I was very proud to be there. I'll always say I was proud to be there and watch our president sign that piece of legislation and watch our First Lady sign that piece of legislation. She's very committed. So we're continuing on that road of helping the administration understand what can be done and the people on the ground really doing the work that they may not know about. The other thing is, yes, Sean says, partisanship around kids' safety is inexcusable. Well, everybody seems to say that, yet when it comes right down to it, the government, they're acting like crazy people. What else could I say? So what are we going to do about all of this? Let me finish up why I finished a terrific day. So a bunch of meetings, about 90 degrees, I think, in Washington. But again, I walked in the middle of streets. It was kind of interesting, like a movie set to me, that I was able to do that. And because all the cars were blocked off and frankly, nobody stopped me. So, I went for it. There is a terrific new documentary. And I want you to go back right here on the Warriors channel. I want you to look for the Janet Jensen interview. Janet Jensen has an organization, a nonprofit called the Jensen Project. She is a survivor of multiple crimes, and she puts her money where her mouth is. And she finances yearly through her grant tank program. You know, she modeled it. I want you to go back and listen to this interview I did with her recently. What a warrior. She modeled her grant tank like the show Shark Tank. And she gives out each year a lot of money to organizations doing the work. And that, though well vetted, she has a board, I mean, really making a difference. Those who have a safe house, those who have those wraparound services, that survivor that has built up some sort of coalition, right? It's amazing. So what did she do? She was a couple of years ago going, because remember, they go and spend hours with an organization going through mission and vision and the books and who's involved. They really, and that's the way it should be with all of this trafficking. And the woman said to her, who runs the organization, kind of as a joke, why don't you buy a brothel? And so Janet's board, she reviewed it with the board, and they're like, okay, we'll buy. So they bought the Bunny Ranch. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Dennis Hoff, Vegas, the Bunny Ranch. I don't want to give away the plot because I want all of you, obviously, to go see this documentary. But it was the premiere yesterday in Washington, D.C., a wonderful place, the right place to have this premiere. And the premiere is the survivors' journeys, these 6 women, right? Again, I don't want to give away the plot, but it gives you the survivor model, which is something we preach at the Warriors. We're behind our New Yorkers for the Equality model, also on the federal government, of empowering that survivor, of turning all of this around in this sex trafficking, right? But it starts out with, which I thought was very interesting and good, a woman who runs a brothel in Vegas. And she's been doing it for 38 years. And it starts with her story and why she does it, how she continues to do it. And then we flip the other side of the women who've gotten out of this life and why they don't want any woman or girl in this life. Or male, but it's primarily we were talking about women and girls yesterday, part of the documentary. So it's called The Right Track. And it's therighttrackfilm.com. Again, I'll put that in the body of the video. And it's fascinating 90 minutes. And so she bulldozed with these survivors, many survivors. They took to the desert and they bulldozed the Bunny Ranch. And it's kind of a symbolic, we're knocking it down. And the reason she was able to buy it, there was a madam running the Bunny Ranch who wasn't licensed, because where this was, I'll say, in Nevada, it's legal prostitution. You can have that. I don't like to even say legal prostitution, but that's what it's deemed as. And the woman running it, they had all kinds of financial problems and she didn't have a license. So it was better for them to dump it and sell it and go on to their next brothel, because they own several, that organization. And Janet bought it. And I'm just going to leave it at that because I want everybody to watch it. So it premiered at the DC Docs Film Festival yesterday. I was very proud to be there and to be with the survivors and to be with the director, Shireen Anderson, who's a fellow New Yorker. She lives in Brooklyn. And see this wonderful piece, this documentary, because people are visual. So if this is what it gets for the public, because it's a hard subject, right? To understand, to remember the Sound of Freedom, how everybody was saying, oh, yes, there's sex trafficking. At least there was awareness brought from that film. This will happen with this film. So DC Docs Film Festival, right now it's slated for several other film festivals. I'll be working on helping bringing it to New York City. And it'll probably be streamed at some point. But again, people are visual. So if this helps one person, just one person, and so many people were involved in creating this documentary. There's 9,000 hours of film. They filmed 9,000 hours. Actually, I just remembered I'm in the film. 2 scenes when I went up to Albany for what is called Lobby Day. Issues, sex trafficking, for this survivor model. And you can see me standing there holding a sign, walking up a staircase. But anyway, you will understand why we always say sex is not work, work is not sex. It'll give you the visuals, and you'll hear from the women themselves. So I want everybody to really be aware and have an open mind about all these issues. Because for me to think, when I have women who work in the sex trade here in New York tell me, or those who got out that are 11, 12, and 13-year-old girls right now in 2025 are saying, here in the vulnerable communities, right? Here in, I don't even know if we use inner city anymore, are reporting back to me, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, I can't wait to be a sex worker. That's a horrifying concept because it's pure abuse. We'll leave that for another program. This is what our girls are thinking. Our young women are thinking. We have to change that whole thinking. That's how do we change all that? You know, things we never talk about, familial trafficking. That's like a no-no. Very common. Most kids that are sex trafficked, it is by somebody they know, whether it's a family member, a family friend, an acquaintance. It's not that white van we keep hearing about, although it can be. So we have those issues constantly that we have to work on. Again, chip away. But how can we when we have what's going on today across our country? We have violence kids are witnessing with these shootings in Minnesota. These are hard, tough things. So just take a breath, right? And the number one thing, let children know, including teens that can be tough and they think they know everything, you're there for them no matter what. Bite your tongue no matter what. I relay this story to you, so the right track. I want everybody to know about that. I spent the other day with Representative Brandon Guffey from South Carolina, and I got to know him through work in Washington because we're involved with many parents whose children have been harmed from online, whether it's TikTok challenges, buying drugs on Snap, all of those horror stories none of us want to think about. His son Gavin, was permanently harmed. I'll just put it that way. A horrible story. But as Brandon says, he's turning this pain into purpose. It's very difficult. And he came up to New York for a day, and we spent time together talking. And he's creating and making a real difference out of this pain. And I brought him to a wonderful event. He had never been to New York before. It always fascinates me because I don't really know too many people who've never been to New York, right? Just here for one day, one night, he's looking up at the buildings. He's like, I just want to walk. I want to know what it's like to walk on the streets in New York. I want to walk. That's all he wanted to do. And he was brought up to speak at a tech company. And but then it turned out I was going to an event that night for a wonderful organization, PACT, P-A-C-T. Our great friend Lori Cohn. You can look right here on the Warriors channel. I did an interview with her. Go back. Look at these things. They are educational pieces, right? Conversations you're not going to hear anywhere else. I guarantee you. I mean, so support us in that way, because I know these are not popular subjects, but I know these are things you want to know. And it's called Protecting Against Child Trafficking, PACT. And as I'm sitting there with Brandon having lunch, I get a text saying, oh, somebody dropped out at your table if you want to bring a guest. And I said, Brandon, no pressure, but would you like to come? Remember, he doesn't know people in New York. He's never been to New York. I said, are you sure? Because there's no pressure. He said, absolutely. He said, I said, well, what were you going to do tonight? I said, nothing, stay in the hotel. I said, well, you better come. Come out. You'll meet a lot of New Yorkers. You'll meet Lori Cohn and the group PAC doing great work in the community. And everybody, here's what I want to say to you. The New Yorkers, so nice. And I'm hearing this now a lot lately. Somebody else, he said, they welcome me with open arms. Everybody talked to me. They're so nice to me. They want to help me. That's community creates change. That is our hashtag at the Warriors. So we have that. Another friend was saying to me from out of town, she said, people are really nice in New York. I always hear such bad things, but asking directions and things like that, people couldn't help me enough. So understand, we are warriors here. Don't listen and watch what you hear a lot in the media. Be very careful. There's a lot of good things online, and a lot of bad things. Be very, decipher, I like to say. Really critically kind of analyze. Really make sure. Don't share information you're not sure of. because that just perpetuates a lot of things, especially about trafficking, right? Because a lot jumped on the bandwagon because they're getting clicks and likes, especially sex trafficking. Let's talk about labor trafficking among kids more. That's not sexy enough. Somehow sex trafficking is deemed sexy. So we've got that. But Brandon Guffey, what a warrior, doing good work in South Carolina. We commend him, we support him and his family, and we'll do everything in our power to help him. And then we have, please watch me on Nancy Grace. We're following that Diddy trial. Week 6 begins. Let's see if he will be held accountable, because victims, survivors, not even involved with him at all, are reaching out. They're very much triggered by this. What's going to happen? Another man in power, because that last one that starts with the letter E, I don't know if I can even say the name on here, but I'll just say it with the letter E. You all know who I mean. No accountability as far as I'm concerned. So we have that going on. Please talk to your kids about what's happening. Please also, we have, if you're in the New York area, we have so many things coming up. August 6th, we're going to have out in West Hampton a beautiful evening showcasing the Warriors, and the Warriors will be showcasing the Wonder Girls. We support them. They are a group of young women, middle and high school, that take care of each other. It's building this movement. Right now it's in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. It needs to be a model around the country. I see it in action, which is why we support them. Remember, there's power in numbers. And these girls are doing tremendous community work. They are helping each other. It's all about, taking that breath. Because so many of our girls are on OnlyFans, or they think, Kardashians, that's the lifestyle. We got to get over that. That's a tired old story already, right? The Kardashians have been around 22 years. Can you believe it? 22 years already. They've been infiltrating. Done with that. It's a new country, onto something new. Wonder Girls are the something new, the empowerment. So we as the adults have to make sure we're there for them. We mentor, we empower. I'm very serious about that. I want to thank all of you who reach out to me. You can always write to me, lynn@lynswarriors.org. Thank you for all of the donations. Makes our education programs go around. It enables me to travel back and forth to Washington, D.C. I'll be going back again in a couple of days. A lot happening. So let me make sure I didn't miss anybody's comments. Rebecca, thank you. Because when somebody says appreciate, that means so much to me that you can't believe. Because somebody's just recognizing it. And I try to live my life every day by recognizing other people and thanking them, because it means a lot to people. And also any survivors of this horrific sex trafficking, kids, just listening. It's the number one thing I hear from kids. Nobody listens to me. Remember, it is not them and us. We need to be in these partnerships together. So much has been thrown at our kids that it's not their fault about all this digital stuff online. It's not parents' fault because they were just thrown into it. But now we're going to take our power back. We're going to take action. You're going to follow the Warriors. Always lynswarriors.org. I have a new newsletter going out Monday. This is your Saturday Night Live. And I want to thank OA. Thank you for your super sticker. And I want all of you to make sure and to promise me you talk to your kids. You talk to them now. Oh, and one other PSA I want to leave you with. There's been a big uptick in what is called gas station heroin. Can you believe it? These little colorful bottles of who knows what's in these substances giving people these highs. But we've just been warned that what's going into those bottles right now could be complete poison. I mean, it's nothing. You're buying something at a gas station in a colorful bottle. You don't really know the ingredients. And so I put something on X, also on Facebook. Please, and I'll actually link it again here in the body of this. Be aware of this. These are poisons perhaps in a bottle, right? A reminder also, no buying any kind of drugs. I don't care if it's aspirin. You as adults, we do not know, even if it looks like, and this is a problem the DEA tells me about, there are some sites that look very realistic where you can save a little money, even buying aspirin online. Yet, they are far from realistic, and those pills might kill. Remember, one pill can kill. And so we have too many stories of kids going on. See, these are the issues. Kids, again, they're allowed to buy drugs online. They're able to get them. I won't name companies, I guess. You can all guess the companies. They're getting things delivered to their front door. parents are in the house and they're getting them delivered to the front door. One pill can kill. So be aware of everything going on, but take a breath, right? And understand we have a lot of work to do, a lot's happening. But remember, you always have the warriors. And with that, whoops, Sean, thank you, Sean, for saying that. Also, let me see if I don't want to miss anybody. Thank you, Claudie. I shouldn't even laugh. You're doing greater than JFK Jr. Yeah, what is he doing exactly, right? One of the issues is the human trafficking in the government was always sitting with HHS, Health and Human Services, with a little bit of it in the DOJ. When the administration started in January, the push was from our end and with some others, take it out of that and put it into DOJ so we can prosecute, hold accountable, right? Because what matters? What matters is holding people truly accountable. Remember, we do have laws, whether they're enforced or not. Sometimes they're enforced, but not to the degree they should be. But what is he doing? And frankly, I didn't see him, come to think of it, at the Take It Down Act in the Rose Garden. And if human trafficking is sitting in his department, I think he should have been there, don't you? Have to find out about that one. With that, please honor our hashtag Community Creates Change. Please make sure, can I please make sure you're subscribed to this channel. We have to make sure we build up being subscribed so everybody can follow along, right? Because again, that puts us in the better algorithm right here on YouTube. But everybody enjoy their Saturday night. Just be aware, talk to your kids. And with that, remember, what do I tell you every single day? Anybody want to say it for me? Does anybody remember what I end each program with? Somebody there has to know it. Come on now. Somebody. Claudie's pretty good. Love Lynn, Lionel, and all warriors. Everybody needs to be a warrior. Okay, I'll do it for you. Each and every day when you wake up, remember, we live in a different country, a different world. Go out and be a warrior. Edie, just at the same time I said it, and Sean said it also. There's Fred. Fred said it also. Community creates change. Go out and be a warrior. Thank you, everybody. Go have a good evening, day, wherever you may be, and we will meet again soon. Thank you all.